Hi, and welcome to our visit to the City of St Albans in the county of Hertfordshire. Just 20 miles from the centre of London, it is one of England's 55 cities. There's a total of 76 in the whole of the UK. We have an aim to see more of our country and make sure we capture a broader selection of towns, cities and counties as we travel. We knew we'd centre on St Albans Cathedral, but there's so much more history here. Did someone mention the Romans? Anyway, without further ado, let's go explore. For us it was an easy drive, so we picked a sunny day in February and parked in the centre of St Albans. Of course you can get a train from London, 18 minutes from St Pancras non-stop on Thameslink. Our first impressions are that it's not very historic, but then we reach St Albans Town Hall. We reach our first listed building constructed in 1826. It's also home to St Albans Museum and Gallery, one of two museums in St Albans. So despite having a cathedral that dates back to the 11th century, a pub that claims to be one of England's oldest on Roman ruins, St Albans was only granted city status in 1877. In fact, before the arrival of the railways in 1858, it was really a quiet market town. There are hints of Tudor, but as we're about to learn, St Albans has an eclectic mix of architecture. That's a fact proven when I reference Historic England's site and drill into the details of the listed buildings. As is always the case, if I mention a site, a point of interest or anything I feel may help, there'll be a link in the description below. You remember our first impressions? I guess we were wrong. Anthropologie in front of us dates from the 17th century, possibly 1637, although there have been a few changes over the years. On the left is the Old Corn Exchange from 1857, although she's not listed. Next we arrive at the Clock Tower of St Albans, built between 1403 and 1412, and according to Wiki the only remaining medieval town belfry in England. As we stroll we come across the Verdun Tree, a memorial horse chestnut said to have been grown from one of 20 conkers salvaged from the World War I battlefield. This leads us to the Waxhouse Gate and the Vintry Gardens. We now get our first proper look at the cathedral. We're only half a mile from the Drovers Way car park we chose. The historic centre of St Albans is relatively compact, so here we have the Cathedral and Abbey Church of St Alban, whose name comes from England's first saint. The majority of the building is Norman, dating from the 11th century, with later 19th century additions, but at its heart it's a double abbey founded by the Anglo-Saxons in around 793. Viking raids saw the settlement sacked, so there's very little of that in its current day makeup. Anyway, let's step inside and take a closer look around. You can book a tour or discover the cathedral at your own place, but remember it's a place of worship first and foremost. The stained glass is stunning. The rose window dates from 1989. That's right, the stained glass windows here date from between 1376 and 2006. The Wallingford High Altar screen dates from around 1480, although the statues are Victorian, with the originals destroyed as part of the dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century after Henry VIII split from Rome. Now in the 20th century there's an art installation that periodically paints the saints in colour. We can spot the tomb of St Amphibalus in the distance. We'll take a closer look in a short while, but first we'll make our way to the shrine of St Alban. Alban wasn't a Christian, however he met a Christian priest, Amphibalus, who was fleeing persecution in Roman Britain in the 3rd century. Moved by the piety of the Christian priest, he shielded him and converted to Christianity. When the Roman authorities discover a Christian priest in Alban's home, he swaps clothes and takes place of the priest. Alban was tried, tortured and beheaded. The tomb of St Amphibalus, the priest, rests a few metres away. I should mention Amphibalus probably wasn't his name, but that may have been lost to the sands of time. The tomb has been remade and repaired over the centuries, and in the latest restoration, delayed by the COVID pandemic, it gained an interesting addition. Check out the figure on the right. What does he have on his face? I could claim I discovered this and the skeleton graffiti carved in the walls, but alas, it was a wonderful cathedral guide that pointed it out. Now we find ourselves at the Lady Chapel that dates from the 14th century, although it's had an interesting past. If you want to know a lot more about St Albans Cathedral, it has its own YouTube channel, which I'll add at the end. I find the history of St Albans Cathedral fascinating. Like the city, it only became a cathedral in 1877. Before that, it was an abbey church. It dates from 1077 in its current form, although part of a much larger abbey that was expanded over the centuries. However, even before the dissolution of the monasteries, it had fallen into disrepair and then it was looted and acquired by the Crown. It didn't have a happy life until the 19th century, when a huge amount of work went into restoring and improving the church. It may not come as a surprise to hear the name George Gilbert Scott involved in the works. This prolific architect in the English Gothic style pops up in our travels around the UK. A great example is Bath Abbey. I'll pop a video up at the end. He also appeared in Hamburg at the Nikolaukirche, now a ruin after World War II. The choir of a church always appeals to me. The performance section. I love the sound of the organ in these spaces. Silent today, so I've added a little bit of background for effect. One of those interesting facts I picked up is that at 85 metres long, it has the longest nave of any cathedral in England. When we arrived, the western end was in use for graduation ceremonies. However, fortunately, they had moved on, so we can explore the full length of the cathedral. It's here you'll find the font with its spectacular cover, made in 1934. And on the wall next to it is a tapestry, in a similar vein to the Bayeux tapestry, that tells the story of the creation of the Norman Abbey. It's now time for that little reminder. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a like, we'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoy my style of video, then why not subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll have more of our travels through the UK and further afield too. It's now time to step outside the cathedral and discover a bit more of St Albans. A short stroll from the cathedral and you'll come across the Abbey Gateway, which is now part of St Albans School. Another reminder of St Albans' medieval past. In fact, although I said St Albans was once a quiet market town, it was also an important stopover on the route to and from London, following an existing Roman road. So along came coaching houses and inns in the town. Now, in the name of research, we've decided to check one out. Ye Old Fighting Cocks. Claiming to be England's oldest pub, but it's one of several. All that can be proved is it might have been licensed in 1756. It doesn't matter. It does a decent pint and the food was okay, but priced at a premium. But I guess the running costs for a 16th century building are not cheap, and it has a pleasant atmosphere on a Tuesday in February. I filmed this as soon as we arrived. It did get busier. Anyway, time waits for no man, so it's off to discover more of St Albans, and we've come across its lifeblood, the River Ver. The River Ver feeds the lake in Verulamium Park, Verulamium being the name for the Roman settlement here. However, there was an Iron Age settlement here before, but it's the Roman ruins that are easier to find. In the distance are the old Roman walls. I think there's quite a lot of Roman Verulamium under our feet, and we do get a chance to see slices of it. Up on the hill, in what looks to be like a bunker, is a Roman hypocaust covered with a beautiful mosaic. You can see where the hot air would have flowed under the flooring to provide heating to what would have been opulent villas. On a Friday and Saturday you can visit the Roman Theatre of Verulamium on the private Gorhamsbury estate for a fee. Our next destination is head to the Verulamium Museum. Time is not on our side, so we'll have to skip it this time. Here you can find out more about life in Roman Britain. We're now on the slow amble back to the city's centre of sorts. Okay, there'll be a detour or two along the way. We cross over the River Ver again, and at times it's hard to think you're in a city. St Albans feels a little different, and that difference has helped it star in the silver screen and on TV. It's hard to believe that Verulamium Park was in Wonka. Okay, there was some CGI too, but Tomorrow Never Dies, Snatch, The World's End, and on TV, Foyle's War, Inspector Morse, and so many more have been filmed here. You can see these streets have character. Our wanderings have brought us back to St Albans Cathedral. As I said, this was the centre of our tour of historic St Albans. There's such a mix of styles from the late 18th century to the 16th century, and you think, would this have been a coaching inn? What tales could it tell us? I think there's an elegance and character to St Albans, a past that refuses to die. Our penultimate destination is a testament to that, the Odyssey, an Art Deco cinema that mixes the modern with something a little bit special. And as we return to the car, we've had a great day in St Albans, and I hope you've enjoyed our view of it too. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.